So here you can observe that, suppose you are talking about collection of hyperplane. So a hyperplane, I had already mentioned that a representation, if you are taking like this way, that means in 2D line is a hyperplane, in 3D plane is a hyperplane, in 4D space is a hyperplane. So if you are having an equation like this way, A transpose X equal to B, then if you are in 2D R2, what does it represent? It represents a line with bias B. So better I would take bias 0 so that it will pass through origin. So it is talking about this line. So representation of line, it will come like this way. In R2, A transpose X equal to 0, it would be line. If you are going in R3, what does A transpose X equal to 0 will represent? In R3, it will represent a plane. So in R3, it will represent a plane passing through origin. Like this way. Equation of this plane, you can call it A transpose X equal to 0. Because why? Because here, if you open open up this one, so A would be in 3D, A would be also three-dimensional vector, and X would be also a three-dimensional vector. So you would like to write it like this way. A is a three-dimensional vector, so it will have three coordinates: A1, A2, A3. And X is also a three-dimensional arbitrary point in R3. So that's why X will also have three coordinate. So call the coordinate of X as like X1, X2, and X3. So here everything is 3D. 3D structure. So that's why you are giving three coordinate representation of that 3D object. If you open up this one, what does it represent? So if you open up, that means it is talking about dot product or inner product between A vector and the arbitrary variable X. So if you simplify, it will come this form: A1 times X1 plus A2 times X2 plus A3 times X3 equal to 0. So what does it represent? It is an equation of a plane with normal vector A1, A2, normal vector A. This is the normal vector of this plane. So you always in case of R3, this representation becomes a plane. But if you are in R2, then A would be also a two-dimensional vector, and X would be any arbitrary point in 2D. That means X will also have two coordinates and A will also have two coordinates. So these are the coordinates. We are writing in coordinate picture. X is also having two coordinates. First coordinate is X1 and second coordinate is X2. So if you simplify the equation, A transpose X equal to 0 in R2, then what you will get? So this will take form. That means you are talking dot product between two-dimensional vector A and X. So it will be simplified as A1 times X1 plus A2 times X2 equal to 0. So what does it represent in 2D? It represents a line. So it is already clear here. But through this representation, easily you can identify what does A represent. A represent normal to this line. A is the normal vector to this line. And similarly, what does A represent in this plane? A represent a normal vector to the plane. A is normal to the plane. Now, if I'm asking what is the general equation of a line in R2, R3, and in even any higher dimension, because slope intercept form is a representation of line in only 2D. But if you're going for higher dimension, you need to proceed with direction. So always represent a line, equation of line in higher dimension in vector form. What does it represent? So you suppose you are in R3, so a line can be represented as, so x is an arbitrary point, x0 is the given point from where it is passing through, plus alpha times direction. Or simply suppose your line, generally we are starting with a specific line, that one is passing through origin. So x0 would be your origin. So simply you can write that x equal to alpha times v. So v is the direction of the line. So this is the general equation of line in any dimension, whether you are in 1 dimension, 2 dimension, or 3 dimension, or 4 dimension, whatever dimension. So line is always having characterized by a direction. Line is always characterized by a direction, but this representation we are calling it hyperplane. Hyperplane. This represents transpose X representation, which is very general representation. We are calling it hyperplane representation. Hyperplane, I will define it later. So hyperplane, what does it say? It is related with the corresponding dimension. So it's suppose you are in R2, then in R2, how many possible subspaces there are there? All these line happens to be. Okay, I will discuss in detail. It would be clear when I will introduce basis and dimension concept. At time, hyperplane concept will be more clear. Right now, just come across all these. So I'm going to start today's lectures. Today we will discuss about linear space, linear subspace, and date and timing of the class is already mentioned here. So going to outline of today's lectures. So I will give a recall of kernel of a linear transformation and some more relevant examples so that it will give a better picture of a kernel of a linear transformation. Then I will produce some exercises. Few of problem I will solve, and what you do as an exercise you can attempt at home as well as a homework. You can solve these problems. So what is here? So all these problems are related to finding image and kernel of matrix. That matrix, I told that every matrix define a linear transformation. So you can say that you are finding image and kernel of a matrix or a linear transformation and vice versa. Then I will go to discuss about linear subspace in detail, and I will talk about little bit precap as a precap. That means next Monday lecture regarding next Monday we will discuss about linear independence, basis, coordinate, and 4 fundamental subspaces. This one is very important. It is giving a very clear picture of whatever you have already studied till now. It will give a very clear picture of this one. If you are able to find 4 fundamental subspaces of a given matrix. So coming to kernel of a linear transformation, I had already discussed. It is very simple definition. If you are having a linear transformation defined from Euclidean space Rn to Rm, we are taking a space intensely. We are taking our domain space and target space different, so that we may go for a general representation of a linear transformation. Sometimes when your this one is the domain space, this one is the target space. When your domain space and target space both are same, then that kind of linear transformation we are calling it self-mapping linear transformation. Self-mapping, that means a linear transformation mapped and into itself. So self-mapping kind of when it is equal. So in case of self-mapping linear transformation representation, it would be like this way. So a square, if you observe matrix of a linear transformation happens to be a square matrix, then directly you can say that the corresponding linear transformation is a self-mapping. And if it is there are two different domain space and target space, then that time you can call it it is not a self-mapping, it is a general linear transformation. So this is the scenario of self-mapping. So till now many example you have already seen that here image. What is the image? Image of a linear transformation, it is a subset of target space. It is a subset of target space Rm, and kernel happens to be a subspace of domain space. So directly, if you are asking that kernel happens to be perpendicular to image space, it is not in general true. It is true only in case of when your transformation is self-mapping, because both this kernel and uh, image coming from different spaces. That's way. So you can observe that. So you will talk about this perpendicular nature of this one when uh, it is self-mapping. Then when m becomes equal to n, when self-mapping scenario. That time I will discuss about perpendicular, and I will give a very clear picture of all those later. So coming to kernel of a linear transformation, so we are taking one bigger example here, that linear transformation is defined from R5 to R4. Here your domain space is a fifth dimensional space, and your target space is fourth dimensional space. So definitely it would be a projection kind of linear transformation. It will project in lower dimension. You are trying to project higher dimension to lower dimension. So how we can find a kernel of a linear transformation? So again, go to definition, and definition will say that kernel, we will get it, kernel of a transformation would be what? It is just like solving system of homogeneous linear equation. That means we are finding the solution of space. That means we are finding x, all those x which satisfy the system of equation ax equal to 0. So we have already gone through how to solve system of equation using Gaussian elimination method. So in Gaussian elimination method, we also put an augmented column, but here the right hand side we observe 0. So if you apply any kind of elementary operation over 0 row column, it won't affect. So that's why intensely we are not going for augmented version. So directly we will find RREF, row reduced equivalent form of this matrix. Row reduced equivalent form of this matrix is this one, and from here in decide that what would be kernel of this transformation defined by matrix, this matrix. So how can, so here in row reduced equivalent form, you can observe that here x1 is your dependent variable, because the corresponding pivot column is a pivot column. X2 is your free variable. So dependent variable I am writing in upper section. X1 is dependent, X2 is independent or free variable. Similarly, X3 is what? It is associated with again a pivot column. So X3 would be also dependent variable, and we are coming to X4. What is X4? X4 is again not having any pivot element, so it is again a non-pivot column. So that's why X4 would be your free variable. The variable associated with fourth column is free variable. Similarly, X5 is a free variable. So you observe here there are 2 dependent variable and 3 are free variable. So definitely the kernel of this transformation, it will be a space kind of a structure which will be spanned by 3 vectors. So here so reduced form of this, if you try to revert back this reduced system, then you will get this reduced. This is the reduced system. So here easily you can observe that x1 has been written in term of free variable or independent variable, and similarly x2 is dependent. Also, it is written in term of free variable x4 and x5. So in total, you have to find the solution, the space of this system ax equal to 0. So solution will take this form: x equal to here x1. You will put value of x1 in term of x1, x2, x4 and x5, and similarly x2 is already free, x3 you will put in term of x4 and x5, and after simplification what you will observe that it is multiple of so as here x2, here t, here it is you can call it x4, and r is what here x5, and x2, x4 and x5, these are freely. So what you observe that kernel of this transformation is spanned by these three 5-dimensional vector. One is this one, another is this one, and another is this one. So kernel of this transformation is a span of these 3 vector, linear span of these 3 vectors. So you are having 3 vector. That means you are having 3 non collinear direction. Three non-collinear direction. So if you are taking three non-collinear direction, so what you will get? You will get a space. So a space kind of a structure. It is a 3D space. So here kernel of the given transformation is a 3D space. You can observe. So it is a 3D space. One direction is given by this vector. Don't take it here. Angle is 90 degree because we don't know how can you get angle between any two vector by taking dot product. So decide dot product and through that you can find angle. So don't assume that here angle is 90 degree. Just I have, for the sake of simplicity, I have drawn this graph of kernel of this given linear transformation. So angle will be decided by dot product of corresponding vector. So this one is the direction of V1, this one is the direction of V2. So you are having three non-collinear direction. Due to that, what you are getting a space kind of a structure. Kernel of this function is a space kind of a structure. Okay. So this one was the example. Further, I will talk about few properties of a kernel of a given linear transformation. What are those properties? So in kernel also you can assume that zero of the domain space is always in the kernel. Zero. This zero is not from the target space. This zero is coming from Rn. This zero is not coming from. It is not coming from here. It is not coming from here. It is this zero is coming from domain space of the linear transformation. So kernel, why? Because kernel is a subset of domain space. Second, kernel is similar to image. Kernel is also closed with respect to addition. That means if you are taking any two non-zero element V1 and V2 from the kernel of T and you sum it up, then summation of those two non-zero element would be again in the kernel of T. That means kernel of a given transformation is again closed with respect to addition. Now, if you go further, kernel is also closed with respect to a scalar multiplication. What you do, that means if you observe a vector in the kernel, non-zero vector, then the kernel will contain the line passing through that vector, that line with V as a direction. That means it simply says that if you're taking a vector, non-zero vector V from the kernel of T and you multiply with K and a scalar K, then KV is again in the kernel. So it is containing the complete line having direction V. So in total, we can say that kernel is also closed with respect to linear combination of some vectors. Remember that linear combination of some vectors in kernel of T. Not all vectors, some vectors. Yes, some vector is very important. That means those vectors are very important. You can find those vector. We will call it a spanning vector. Later we will give name that basis vector. So one visualization of invertible matrices also you can observe here. So invertible matrix is possible only for a square matrix. If the matrix is a square, then you can talk about invertibility. So a matrix is invertible if the system AX equal to B is having unique solution. That we had already seen in a system of linear equation. Second condition is that when you apply RREF over the matrix and it happens to, it will be converted into a identity matrix. And by an identity matrix, then we can claim that the matrix is invertible. Other one is a rank of the matrix happens to be equal to n. Then we can say that matrix is invertible. Now, here image, we had already seen the image and kernel of the transformation and the corresponding matrix. So that's why if image of the matrix is happens to be equal to domain. This one is the domain. Then we can claim that matrix is invertible. Similarly, if kernel of the matrix happens to be, sorry, image of the matrix, here it is self-mapping. If you are taking your domain and target set both same, that's why it is a self here. And by a square matrix is associated with a self-mapping kind of linear transformation. That means transformation, a linear transformation from Rn to Rn. Okay, so here when image happens to be a equal to target space, this is the target space. Image is equal to target space. Then we can say that the function is, or the matrix or corresponding linear transformation is invertible. And another way, if you try to look from the domain space, if kernel of the corresponding linear transformation or matrix happens to be equal to only one element, this singleton set, that means it contains only zero vector of the domain, then we can claim that the matrix is invertible or the corresponding linear transformation is invertible. So if you define invertibility of a linear transformation, always try to define with respect to corresponding or associated matrix. So both it is and vice versa, both are true in case. Now I have given few exercises here. So before exercises, I would like to give definition, picturization of image. You can easily see in this picture, image is contained in the target. This one is the target space, and kernel is contained in the domain space. So from the picture also you can observe that the difference between image, where is image set and where is kernel set. So a systematic approach to find a image of a transformation and kernel of a transformation is that. So that means systematic means you are defining an algorithm for finding image and kernel of a given transformation from Rn to Rm. So algorithmic approach, you can call it. It is a systematic approach. So first, what you will, in a step one, what you will do, you have to find the associate matrix. What is the matrix of the given linear transformation? Then express the linear transformation in terms of matrix. Suppose one example I had already discussed about projection example, that T is a mapping from R3 to R3, where it map any three-dimensional point x1, x2, x3 having coordinate x1, x2, x3. It is mapped to this vector in x1, x2 plane, like x1 is free, x2 is free, and third x3 becomes 0. So here this mapping was defined, this transformation was defined in the form of transformation. We can convert this one in terms of matrix. So what would be corresponding matrix? So it would be matrix would be first entry would be first row would be 1 0 0, second row would be 1 0 1 0, and third row would be 0 0 0. And here your input vector, you can write it with coordinate x1, x2, x3. So this one is the matrix representation of a given linear transformation. So whatever transformation you are having, always what you do in the first step, always give a matrix representation. That means find the associated matrix. Then after, go to define image of the set. Image of the transformation. Image, how we define T of x such that x is coming from the domain space. X is coming from the domain space, and we know that we have already seen the matrix, associated matrix of T. So that's why this definition also we can write it T of x equal to A of x. So A of x such that x is coming from the domain space. So what does it is talking about? If you want to see as a column picture of this representation, so as a column picture, it will appear like we are calling it. It is, this set is talking about a linear combination of columns of A. So all possible linear combination of columns of A, that we are calling it a span of columns of A. And then a span of a column is to relate it with columns of A. I am giving intensely notation of image of P by C of A. C is talking about column space. So column space, it is column span of, or simply you can call it column span of the given or transformation, or column span of the columns of the matrix associated with the given transformation. So it is a column picture. So image we observe from the column picture perspective. This one is a step 2. In step 3, what we will do, we will try to find kernel of the given transformation. So kernel, again we try to define, it is a collection of all the pre-images of 0. That means x at that T of x equal to 0, and T of x is defined in terms of matrix. So that's why it will be taken in this form, x at that A of x equal to 0. So when you are writing in this form, what does it is talking about? It is talking about solving a system of linear equation, homogeneous linear equation. That means this set is talking about solution space of the system Ax equal to 0. So in that perspective, so we try to find collection of all the vector which becomes nullify due to A. Nullify means zero, vanish. It is vanishing in the target space. When you apply A over X and it vanishes in the target space, vanishing means it becomes zero. So that's way another name of kernel of T, you can call it null space of A. So N is taken from null space of A. These are just name coming from the corresponding character. What kind of characteristic is having? So from there, all these are coming. So null space. So if you try to visualize null space, is what it is talking about, giving a row picture. It is a row picture. So because we are solving system of linear equations, so equations, one equation, two equation kind of things. So that's way. So null space or kernel of T is having geometrically a row picture. So few exercises I had given. What you do here, you have to find an example of a linear transformation whose image is here. Image is given here. Transformation is not given. What is given? The image of a transformation is given here. What is the image of transformation? It is a linear span of this vector in R3. The image of T is already given here. The question is that what is T? This question is inverse problem kind of question. So here, image of T, it is a linear span of this vector 7, three-dimensional vector 7, 6, and 5, having entry 7, 6, 5. So this is the linear span of this three-dimensional vector. Now you have to find what is T. So how can you find? So this one is a little bit tricky question, but it is very simple kind of question. Very simple question. How can you find? It is very easy to find. So definitely for this respect to there would be infinitely many choices. There would be infinitely many correct answers. And that means, and if you take any 3 by n matrix, non-zero 3 by n matrix, whose columns are a scalar multiple of this one, two a scalar multiple of this one, because we know that image happens to be a span of columns of given matrix. So that's just if you are taking a scalar multiple of this one, keep on taking it, and there would be no issue. When you will take linear combination, all these becomes same. It will be unified to one. So that's why if you are taking any 3 by n matrix where every column, so simplest answer is that simplest answer you can define it T of x. What is the T of x? It would be, or I might have, I haven't written. T of x is what take define through this way. Seven, 6, 5. Consider as a column and take multiple of, keep on taking multiple of this one. Where you want to define? You want to define from R3 to R, or R3 to N is taken here from the perspective that what would be the dimension of your target space. If you want to define from R3 to R, then just take dot product of this vector. That means 7, 6, 5 transpose X. It is talking about R3 to R. If you want to take a transformation from R3 to R3, then what would be your linear transformation? It depends upon what kind of target space you are willing to take. So according to that, it will vary. So if you want to define from R3 to suppose R2, so what would be your answer for this question? So for this single question, there are infinitely many answers. So Tx would be, it would have a matrix of the size 3 by 2. So first column would be 6, 7, 6, 5. A second column, take just a multiple of this. So that means multiple times, take 2 times. So 7 times 2 is 14, 6 times 2 is 12, and 10, 5 times 2 is 10. So this matrix, and here you can define. So you are getting this. This one is the transformation from sorry, here domain, here your target space is fixed here. Target space is fixed, and domain space, it would be depends upon what kind of domain space you want to take. So domain space, suppose you are taking R2, and suppose you are willing to take target space is R3. Target space would be always R3. So when you are defining, so what is the transformation here? Domain space, it will vary. So you can put it here Rn. What kind of domain space you are willing to take? Based on that, you can keep on varying your number of columns, and your target space would be always fixed. So target space would be R3 here. So another example is this one, this linear transformation. So here it is a domain space is R2. So here taking two-dimensional vector. So this one is one example of such that if you are willing to find column space of this one, so column space of this transformation would be this. If you want to find column space of this transformation R2 R3, and column space would be this. Likewise, you can find consider as a homework. You can find all possible column space like this way. All possible transformation. How many possible? Just try to find it out. So that is the answer. Several answer for this single question. There is one more question. Give an example of a linear transformation whose kernel is the plane. It is a plane in the R3. It is a 3D plane. So what is the answer? So again, this question will have variety of answer. So row wise. So what you will do? Simplest answer is that your transformation simply you can define it like this way. T of x equal to here 1, 2 row vector. I am taking row vector times x. So here your domain is fixed. When your null space is given, you are willing to find your matrix or transformation. Then in that question, if null space is given, that means your domain is fixed, because null space happens to be a subset of domain. So that's why your transformation is defined like this way: R3 to Rn. N may be 1, n may be 2, n may be 3, depends upon your choice, what kind of n you are willing to take. So this would be your desired transformation. This is the desired transformation whose null space is already given here. And for this case, when column space is given here, then your desired transformation, it would be like this way. Our general transformation would be Rn to R3. So when your kernel is given here, that means your target space is already fixed. So if you are dealing with image of a given transformation, that means your target is fixed. So your image of a given transformation is always associated with target space. So with respect to given image, your target is fixed. Now, what is the variable thing? Your domain space is variable things. So it is a little bit tricky question. You can come across that. And here, in case of kernel is given, so your domain is fixed, but your target set is varying. Rn I have written. So n you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depends on your choice. So this is the key scenario. And these are several questions for practice purpose I had given. So what you do for all these questions, you have to find image of the given associate transformation and kernel as well. Also keep on drawing using pen and paper and draw all the plot. Try to draw all the plot. So this is the scenario. So we are coming directly to linear subspace. What does the linear subspace is talking about? It is just generalization of image and kernel of a given linear transformation. So in what does it say? It simply says that we in image and kernel, we had already seen that common property that 0 belongs to. So image and kernel, I am giving a notation, common notation W. So we had already seen that in case of image, also in case of kernel, 0 was an element of that either kernel or null space. Second, if we had taken any element, any two element from the kernel or image, that means kernel and image both were close with respect to addition. That means V1 plus V2 belongs to W for every V1, V2 coming from W. If you are taking any V1 and V2 from these, either from kernel or from image, you had already seen that the kernel or image both were closed with respect to addition. Similarly, there was one more property. That property we are talking about scalar multiplication. So if you are taking a vector from either kernel or image, and if you multiply with a scalar, then it would be again element of that kernel or image. So for every V. So these three property we had already seen that these three property we can write in a single form. So all these three, how can we write in a single form? So single form notation, it would be like this way: alpha 1 times V1 plus alpha 2 times V2 belongs to W for every V1, V2 coming from W. So this is the definition of linear subspace. So that means W is closed with respect to linear combination. So if you want to see how you will get this one, if you take alpha 1 equal to 0 and alpha 2 equal to 0, both 0. So if you are taking both equal to 0, then it will give your first condition. If you are taking alpha 1 equal to 0, also alpha 2 equal to 0, it will give your first condition. If you are taking alpha, yes.
Sir, what is V and W?
What is V?
Means V belongs to images or kernel, and W also belongs to images or kernel.
Here, at a time, V, either it would be your image. If you are dealing with image, it will be always an image, or you can also take V kernel as well. So I am just trying to unify the property of kernel and images. So kernel and images both are having this property now. So that's why I am trying to unify that. So both kernel is also closed with respect to addition and scalar multiplication and containing 0. So that's why if you are taking a V W equal to image of T, then you observe all these three property. If you are taking W equal to kernel of T, then also kernel of T is satisfying all these three properties. So I am trying to check through collecting the properties of these image and kernel, we try to give the general kind of subspace, general kind of a structure. That structure we are calling it a subspace. Like if you are observing properties of human being, then you can generalize those properties for all these human beings by observing few sample person, and through that properties you can generalize for other persons as well. So one person was here. Here one person consider here image. So one person, suppose Ram is image is Ram or something like one person. So one person, this image is having property that image is containing a 0 element. Just consider like this way: image is containing 0 element. I don't know what kind of 0 element is that. Second property, it is saying that image is closed with respect to addition. That means if you are taking any two element from the image and you sum it up, then summation would be again in the image. If you are taking an element from image and you do a scalar multiplication, again it would be in the image itself. You can't say that you take element from image and it would be in kernel. It is not like that. Okay, are you getting what is your question here?
Yes, sir, I got it.
You got now. So you can't talk about two things in together. So image is a totally different thing. You have already seen that it is coming in target space. It is a subset of target space, and kernel is it is a subset of domain space. So these two are having similar kind of property. That means you can say that they are having equivalent property, but they are not equal. They are having similar kind of characteristics. So that is the criteria. So how many other things will have this similar criteria? So that other things I will call it W. W is a very generalized word. Generalized. So through collecting characteristics of image and kernel, we are going for a general kind of concept in linear algebra that we are calling it linear subspace. So we are defining. So for being if you are taking a collection of vector, and you will say that whether it is a linear subspace or not. If it is a linear subspace, has to satisfy this property. That means it must contain zero element. Zero must be there in W. Then the W must be closed with respect to addition. That means if you are taking any two element from W, it must be in W itself, and W must be closed with respect to a scalar multiplication. So these are the property of linear subspace. So very generalized word, generalized from this image and kernel. Those things I had already written it here in detail. So what you do, it happens to be generally a subset of a vector space Rn. And definition of linear space, it is defined here in it is talking about W must contain zero element. It is saying that W zero must belongs to W. So W is a subset of Rn, and it has to satisfy first property, zero must be in W. Second property, it must be closed with respect to addition. It must be closed with respect to addition. This is the first property. This is the second property. And third is it must be closed with respect to a scalar multiplication. Then we will call W is a subspace or linear subspace of Rn. So that is the definition of subspace. So I will take few example. Through example, everything would be clear further. So if you are defining a linear transformation from Rn to Rm, then what you will observe that kernel of the transformation or kernel A, it happens to be a subspace, linear subspace of domain space Rn. It is a linear subspace of domain space of Rn. And similarly, if you define image of the transformation, it is a subspace of target space. Image is, it is in target space. Now we are taking another example here. W, it is defined like this way. It is having coordinate x1, x2. That means it is collection of all 2 by 2 all two-dimensional vector in such a way both coordinate happens to be non-negative. So what does it will talk about? If you are in R2, so it is talking about your first quadrant. In first quadrant, you observe that x1 is also positive and x2 is also positive. So W is just talking about this region. Later we will see that name of this region we will denote it by R2 plus orthant. We will call it R2 plus. General name is orthant. That means x1 is also positive and non-negative, and x2 is also non-negative. Here x1 is also greater than equal to 0 and x2 is also greater than equal to 0. So does it is a subspace of R2? No. Why? 0 is having here, it contains 0. First property is satisfied. We can observe that it contains 0. There is no issue. 0 belongs to first quadrant. W. But is it closed with respect to addition? Try to observe that if you are taking two positive, any two vector from here, suppose one vector is V1, this one, another vector V2. So what would be sum of this one? So sum would be like this way. It would be sum. So it is also closed with respect to this addition. There is no issue. It is closed with respect to addition. But where is the issue? Suppose you take any element from this space, call it V, and multiply with negative. If you are multiplying with negative, it will come this side. It is minus P. 180. That means you are talking about 180-degree rotation. So due to that, here it is not closed with respect to a scalar multiplication. So due to that, W is not a subspace. So if V you are taking from W, then minus B, it is not belonging to W for all V. If you are taking any V from W and you do a 180-degree rotation, then you will observe that minus V, it will be not an element of W, even minus 2p and minus 0.5 2p, whatever element is, that means you take 180-degree rotation of this vector. You take any vector here and 180-degree rotation of this one. So the negative element would be not in W. Due to that, it is not closed with this. In general, K time V or alpha time V, it is not belonging to W. So that's why at least you can get a counter example. So that's why it is not a subspace. It is not a subspace. It is not a, so you might have already got the answer. So that plot again I had given. This is the plot of W. It is talking about first quadrant of R2, plot of R2. So another example I would like to talk about. These are the possible. So we are in R2. What are the possible subspace? So possible subspace R happens to be one singleton set 0 itself. Another is the R2 itself, and third one is any line which is passing through origin. This kind of line. So if you are taking a line, negative and positive kind of scalar multiplication, line is always closed with respect to a scalar multiplication. Similarly, if in R3, if you are going 3-dimensional, what are the possible subspaces? R3 itself, then 0, a singleton set 0, then any line which is passing through origin, and any plane which is passing through origin. So all these are possible candidate of being subspace in R3. Okay, time is already over, so other things we will discuss in detail in next class. In I think probably next week. If you are having any question, you are welcome. Otherwise, I am going to wind up today's class.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Does hyperplane
Yes.
always go through origin?
Hyperplane, there are two structures I had told that. When you will add linear hyperplane, then it will always go through origin. But when you will add affine, then affine is not going through origin. So that means when you are having a bias structure. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes,
Slide
sir.
is visible. Okay, visible. So here, picture through picture, it would be clear. So here you can observe that if suppose you are in R2, so I had already written equation of hyperplane like this way. So if you are writing A transpose X equal to 0, what does it say? It is saying that you are passing through origin, because origin is 0 is satisfying this one. So this one is this will always pass through origin. So it is a hyperplane, and this hyperplane we call it linear hyperplane. You can put it here. It is a linear hyperplane. Linear word. Okay, if you are taking a hyperplane which is not passing through origin, but it is parallel to same hyperplane, so we will write it what. So how we are getting A transpose X equal to this B? That means we are taking same linear A transpose X equal to 0, and we are moving in the direction of normal. Suppose normal direction is I have taken intensely negative normal direction. This is the normal direction. So we are moving in normal direction. A, this is the normal direction. How much unit you have moved? B unit you have moved. So this B shift, you shifted the linear space by amount B. So this B, there is a meaning of B. B means bias. Your bias is B. So due to this bias, presence of bias, it is not a linear hyperplane, but it is a hyperplane. What kind of hyperplane? It is a affine hyperplane. Affine. The affine is very much generated from linear thing. So we will call it a hyperplane. So there is a common name of hyperplane. Why? Because if you talk about dimension, so hyperplane always it is related with dimension. What is the dimension of this line? Dimension of this line, because we are having only one direction to move along the line. So that's why dimension of this line is 1. D is 1. Similarly, if you ask about what is the dimension of affine, this affine line, also dimension is 1. So that's why common name is hyperplane. Hyperplane is talking about in R. If you are in R2, then you take any subspace whose dimension is 2 minus 1. Take any subspace or any structure whose dimension is 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is what? 1. That's way line also, this line passing through origin also we are calling it hyperplane, and affine corresponding affine hyperplane also we are calling it hyperplane. So hyperplane is coming with respect to this term. If you are in n-dimensional space Rn and you're defining a subspace or a structure which is having one less dimension than the parent space, one less n minus one dimension, then that structure we will call it hyperplane. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, if you are in plane, what would be if you are in R3, that means in a space, what is your hyperplane? I'm asking a question from you. If you are in R3, what is the hyperplane?
Sir, it would be a plane.
Yeah, it would be a plane. Either it would be that plane, it is passing through origin, then we will call it a linear hyperplane. If it is not passing through origin, then we will call it affine. So affine and linear is coming with respect to from whether it is passing through origin or not. So that is the criteria. Okay. I think it might be clear. So this is the hyperplane in R3. So similar notation is again similar. If it is passing through origin, notation would be A transpose x equal to 0. And if it is not passing through origin, you are having a plane which is parallel. You got by parallel shifting using a bias B. Then you will write it A transpose x equal to B. So that one is the affine plane. This plane we are calling it affine plane. So there is a very strong relation between plane passing through origin and plane passing through non-zero point. So that you can directly go get it by doing a parallel shift in the direction of normal. So you do a parallel shift in the direction of normal. Then you are getting this affine structure. So that is the criteria. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for attending to this class. And regarding attendance, go and mark your attendance there in Google Classroom. If you further have doubt, you can